So I made this post here in the POD Ninjas Facebook group asking people what they thought the future of print on demand is. This is a post inside of my print on demand Facebook group. There's currently about 46,000 print on demand store owners inside of it. So if you want to join a community full of training and other print on demand store owners, check it out. There's a link down in the description. In this video, I'll give my take on where we've been with print on demand and more importantly, where we're going and what you need to do to be successful with your own store. Here in the comments, you can see that some people said things like more products would be available. Someone named Jill said that they are worried about drop shipping in general because people want things fast. Nicola right here said that things might get more competitive between sellers and manufacturers, basically meaning that the more popular this business model gets, we might see print-on-demand suppliers start to compete with each other more on things like pricing and quality and things like that in an attempt to get us to use them as a supplier. Someone down here said the future of POD is rosy. Someone else said that the future of print on demand lies in personalized products. Someone else says all over print. Joe says hoping more variety of products as everything available is becoming saturated. And down here we have another comment about all over printed products. Now, if you are new to print on demand or new to my channel and some of the things that people were talking about here inside of the comments are things that you don't necessarily understand, go ahead and subscribe to my channel because I upload tons of print on demand content. And if it's your first time here, make sure to check out some of my other videos down in the description. I have linked some of the videos that I think are going to be the most helpful for you. So definitely check that out. And also make sure to drop a like. It's not for my own ego. This is to make sure that the YouTube algorithm actually shows this content to other people. So now that you've hit the like button, like I said, today we're going to be talking about the future of print on demand. One quick disclaimer is this is according to me. If you disagree or you think I get it wrong, that's perfectly fine. Let me know down in the comments what you think the future of print on demand is. I think what's important here when we discuss the future of print on demand, that we first discuss where we've been with print on demand, and more importantly, what strategies really worked well to sell print on demand products at each of these stages. You know, in the early days of print on demand, we primarily had people selling products on platforms like Teespring. I'm talking about in like 2014, 2015, etc. There was really just t-shirts available on places like Teespring, where you would essentially upload a design, you would create a campaign for that design, and if you sold a certain amount, the product would actually get printed. Those were the early days of print on demand, where you still had to hit some sort of a minimum order on your shirt to actually have it printed by the supplier. Obviously, nowadays we can just do print on demand where there is no minimum purchase amount that we need to actually have our products created. When people were selling these types of products, they primarily sold them with shoutouts or Instagram influencer campaigns or even some Facebook ads because they were relatively new back then. And this was honestly what I view as like the golden era of print on demand. This is where, you know, simple t-shirts, like things that said Papa, the man, the myth, the legend, sold really well. And the reason for that was because print on demand was relatively new and it was very, very cheap to promote products to lots of people. Meaning you could just spend a few dollars on marketing and you could show that product to 10,000 people. And that would allow you to make a few sales where you could still be profitable. Contrast that with today, which we will get to, you have to do a lot better job with creating products that are actually really good because it costs more money to actually promote things. And it's just more saturated in general. Moving on, in the earlier days of print on demand, we saw the rise of Shopify, where people began to create their own stores. T-shirts and mugs were still the primary product, and people still made sales primarily with shoutouts, Instagram influencer campaigns, and some ads as well because they were still relatively new. This was a huge shift because we began to see people coming off of platforms like Teespring, where there was minimum order requirements to actually have shirts printed, to actually creating their own store and driving traffic to that store. This is sort of when I got involved with print on demand. I've been selling print on demand products since about 2016. Really 2017 is when things started to really go well for me. And when I first started, I was all in on t-shirts. If you have watched much of my channel, you know that I am pretty anti-t-shirt now, but that's a subject for another video. And like I said, if you want more information on why I might think that, check the links down in the description. I have some of my most helpful videos there for you listed out so that way you can easily watch them. But first, make sure to watch as much of this video as possible and hit the like button. It's going to really help the YouTube algorithm to recommend this content to other people. Eventually, with Shopify, and because of how easy it was for print-on-demand suppliers to offer their products to the masses, people began to develop integrations with platforms like Etsy, where you could create an Etsy shop and actually sell products from a Shopify store and enjoy automatic order fulfillment. Meaning, as more products became available, you were actually able to just list them on Etsy very, very easily. And this, honestly, over the last like 18 months or so, I've seen it sort of become a massive trend. Most times with people that are maybe dabbling with Shopify and driving their own traffic who maybe don't have a lot of success, they end up going to Etsy thinking that will solve their problem. Essentially, the idea was that they can go to platforms like this and enjoy just lots and lots of organic traffic. People are on Etsy or even Amazon or Redbubble or other places like that, and they're searching for product, and the idea would be to, as they're searching, they're going to stumble across your items. Throughout this time, this was never really a trend that I jumped on. I kind of just stayed with Shopify, and over time, I've watched a lot of people make this jump to Etsy and struggle because, like I said, maybe the organic traffic that comes with that is not as great as they thought it would be. When it comes to the year 2022, I think the brand is going to make a comeback, meaning I think more and more people are going to be going all in on their own website by opening up a Shopify store or even a store on like WordPress or Wix or something like that. I think the reason for this is because a lot of these platforms are becoming so saturated. A lot of times when you are doing searches on these platforms, you will see hundreds of thousands of different results, and if you're trying to make sales in that type of an environment, it's going to be a little bit tough. I think in the year 2022, the real way to cut through some of that saturation and have print-on-demand success is to build your own store. I think in addition to that, we're going to see just tons of capabilities that are going to continue to evolve. I think one of the main things that we're going to see is the easiness of personalization when it comes to design just sort of increase. What I mean by that is I think that print-on-demand suppliers and various Shopify apps are going to start to make it extremely easy for us to offer personalized products. We have already seen over the last few years companies like T-Launch and Subliminator and Shine On, which are all Shopify apps for print-on-demand companies that have introduced features in their apps that allow people to easily sell personalized products. I think this is going to continue to be a trend where if you are on another place like Redbubble, Amazon, or even Etsy, you might not be able to do some of that stuff as easy as it's going to be on Shopify. I think additionally, we will begin to see just tons of more products available for us to sell. Even over the last few months, I have seen posts made by different print-on-demand companies where they are just rolling out new products consistently. And I think if you're looking to build your own brand here, the goal would be to try and sort of capitalize on some of those products that may be new to a niche. And when it comes to actually making sales, I think that ads and shout outs and Instagram influencers and things like that are still going to be the number one way to sell products in this type of environment. Talking about things like Facebook ads, Instagram ads, even Pinterest or Snapchat or TikTok, which I don't think are as good for this type of business model, but I think ads in general are still going to be a way that a lot of people can make some really nice sales in the year 2022. If you are new to print on demand and you want to see a guide for the year 2022, make sure to check out this video here. I just uploaded it last week and I went through a whole bunch of things that you need to consider, especially when it comes to the strategy behind opening your print on demand store. If you want to check that video out, I will put it down in the description below. To summarize though, here are 5 critical keys that I think are going to be very important for you in the year 2022. The first is that you have to realize that print on demand is a business model that really is based on getting people to make an impulse purchase, which means that you primarily want to put your products in a direct response marketing environment. This means on social media, for example, where people are scrolling through their newsfeed and they're coming across your product either as a post from your page or as an ad. And I think really to succeed with this, you need to create niche product. What I mean by that is in order to get people to actually impulse buy your stuff, you have to make designs that relate to a specific niche that they are passionate about. I think another key here is choosing products that aren't saturated. I'm talking about getting away finally from things like t-shirts, which were popular back in the Teespring days in like 2014, 2015, and a few years after that. But now in the year 2022, I think it's finally time to move on. Of course, there are going to be people that still sell shirts and make a few sales here and there, but honestly, when it comes to products that I'm selling, things that are a little bit more unique, I'm able to scale much higher, and the same is true for people that I have worked with personally. We are able to just make a lot more sales because with more unique products, you can instantly cut through a lot of that saturation that exists with things like t-shirts or mugs. I think another huge part here is that you got to focus on branding. You cannot just have a generic store. You can't just throw things together in a couple of nights and launch products. You actually have to build a real branded website. You have to make sure that when you're building your store, it looks great, that it looks like a real store, and more importantly, realize that this is more than just a business. The last few YouTube videos that I've uploaded, I've talked about this concept of people needing to treat their stores like a real business, meaning when you go on YouTube and you start searching for various print-on-demand things, you will see tons of videos that say like 0 to 30,000 tutorial, step-by-step Shopify setup tutorial. And if you're thinking that you can just watch a tutorial on YouTube that is 20 minutes long and follow along as they click buttons and build a business, you are sadly mistaken, because you need to do a lot more than that. You actually need to bring some creativity to your store, make it look good. Your customers and people that are coming on your store are going to view you as a real store, right? They're not fish. I've been saying that a lot lately too, where they're not fish. If you just dangle food in front of them, they're going to eat it. They're actually going to smell it. They're going to maybe taste it. They're going to really make an assessment on whether or not it's something that they want to spend money on ultimately. And I think a lot of people that are jumping into print on demand are treating it as if it is some sort of a get rich quick type of business. And I think in 2022, that is going to be something that you just cannot do, right? Because print on demand, let's face it, is becoming a little bit saturated. It is popular for a reason, because it is an awesome business model. And in order to succeed with it, you have to do things differently, which is why I make so much content here on my channel. A lot of the things that I talk about, a lot of people get upset with me in the comments because they're clinging to some of those old ideas. And I really just want to encourage you guys to think differently, right? Get away from some of those older concepts about print on demand, so that way you can be the one that is actually crushing it in the year 2022 and beyond, as others are still using strategies that may have worked a few years ago. So hopefully this video was helpful. I know at times it felt a little bit like a rant, but that is sometimes what I do here on the channel. Like I said at the beginning, if you did enjoy the video, make sure to first drop a like. That's going to help the YouTube algorithm. There's likely someone out there who is struggling with their store, and if you click the like button, YouTube might actually show them this video, and in turn, it helps my small channel to grow. Also, check the description. There's a ton of helpful content down there for you. I put a whole bunch of my most popular videos that I think are going to be helpful for you, so definitely make sure to check those out. And thanks for watching. That's really all I have for you guys today. And with that, I'll just stop talking.